Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Final Fantasy. In the last episode, we travelled all the way to the distant port town of Provoca, and we managed to rescue it from the clutches of Captain Bicky and his motley crew of pirate Vikings. And as a reward for saving the town, we got Bicky's ship, which we can now use to sail around the world. And we want to be sailing west at this point because we want to reach Elfheim, which is the destination we need to get to in order to retrieve Matoya's herb. But first of all, we need to actually find a way to wake him up from his cursed sleep. And we are now fighting some more Vikings, Kiyozoku or Kizoku or whatever. But these shouldn't be too tough, although they're probably somewhat more formidable than the pirates. But we can still handle them as long as they don't go after our mages. Yes, indeed, they're definitely far more physically formidable than Bicky's pirates, so we'll need to be on our guard. But they are no match for the might of Theo and myself, although Adin and Ysera are still in a considerable amount of danger. I don't really need to use any of my spells, although Ysera could probably still, I think Ysera can burn one of these Vikings. I'm going to call them that, since Kizoku is fairly hard for me to say. And they can actually stand up to a fire attack. That actually makes them incredibly formidable indeed. I keep using that word. But luckily they didn't manage to hit Ysera there, because that would actually be bad. And unfortunately we keep missing, and that was 5 and 3 damage, probably the most that they're ever going to get from on Theo there. And there's only one more left, so we should be able to overwhelm them with numbers, and that was 10 damage on me. That wasn't very nice there, but we've managed to overwhelm them, and 60 experience and 480 gil. Nice. I will not say no to that. I'm going to be heading south now. And there are some more Sahagins, as well as a giant shark. Oh, I think I should probably take care of the Sahagins first, and let Theo deal with the shark. Some decent damage there from Adin there. Rid of these Sahagins before they cause any more trouble. And I forgot that fire actually is a rather ineffective spell there against sea monsters, so we'll have the mages fight against the Sahagin while Theo and myself deal with the shark. Would have killed it if Theo hadn't missed, but Adin actually dealt some pretty decent damage against the Sahagin there, and there's no need to actually use any more spells against the shark. Although the shark seems to be giving our party what's for. In fact, the shark is still on the battlefield. That's actually a bit worrying there. Might actually get some damage on us. I probably could use another lightning spell, and Ysera is definitely going to need some healing, but Theo was able to deal with the shark decent amount of experience and gil. Quite nice, and almost got 1,000 gil there, and should definitely heal up Uzziah there. Down we go, and can we go this way? No, we can't. We cannot. We'll need something else to sail there, but right now we need to find a port to actually disembark from the ship. And there we go. We are now on the southern part of the continent that we are currently on. In fact, Cornelia, Provoker, and Elfheim are pretty much all on the same continent, so we haven't really gone well, we've gone to different places, but we haven't gone to different continents. And do I want to no, try and find Elfheim first, but there is an asp. We want to deal with that as quickly as possible, because asps can poison us. Although the fact that we do have pures on hand means that we can actually deal with the poison, we don't want to be poisoned whatsoever. And I think asps actually do considerable damage, but we were able to defeat it with the might of our magic. 30 experience, 50 gil. And we should actually be getting that much closer to level 5 for our party. We want to try and get out of this forest as quickly as possible. And welcome to the lovely vista of Elfheim here, or Elfland as it's known as in Final Fantasy. There is a port down here, but there is actually no way that we can actually get to it, and I will show you why at some point. But this is the land of the elves, hence Elfland. Save our prince. And we can go into an inn. 100 gil. Why not? I know I could have used the tent there, but the rooms at the inn are fairly comfortable there. There is a black magic store over there, but right now I'm actually going to check out what weapons that we have at our disposal. We've got some iron nunchucks, a large dagger, useful for a thief, an iron staff, which Uzziah can use, sabers, which will actually be pretty reasonable for Theo and myself, but more importantly the silver swords, which are an incredible 4,000 gil. That is a lot of gil right there, but we aren't going to purchase anything for the moment, because I will actually want to accrue some more gil before we actually start equipping ourselves, which we will need to at some point in the near future. And let's see what magic you have here. And oh, speaking of expensive, all these spells cost 1,500 gil. And we have Fire 2, which, and also Lightning 2, which basically it's considered as lightning and fire all because it hits everything on the battlefield, which is pretty handy. We are definitely going to want to accumulate as much gil as we possibly can. Of course, Uzziah will be having Fire 2, and I of course will be having Lightning 2. There is also the Hold spell, which I'm not really sure if it does anything or not in the classic Final Fantasy, but it should supposedly immobilize enemies. And there is Lock 2. We'll have to check to see whether that is going to be any useful or not, but I doubt it. And you were in my way, but you have let me pass. There is the clinic, which we can use to revive fallen party members. The prince must wake soon, or the dark elf will dominate. So the elves are fighting against their drow kin, are they? Very D&D there. Although I doubt they were actually called drow this early on. As for armor equipment, we have iron armor, which is going to be incredibly useful. Copper bracelets, which bracelets can actually be equipped to mages, such as Adden and Uzziah. an iron shield, which will definitely be a step up from the wooden shield currently wielded by Theo. We don't need a cap, and I actually have a wooden helmet, which is slightly better protection for Theo, but again, we're not actually going to purchase anything just yet, because we're just visiting, and this elf will tell us the same thing. Before we head up that bridge, we shall venture across to this item store. There are some heals, cures, cabin, a house, which is an incredible 3,000 gil there. But it is pretty much the best camping set that one can actually acquire, but best to find them out in the field rather than actually purchase them, because you want to save your gil for other bits and pieces. And finally, another potion, the soft potion, which can cure petrify. Now, that is a pretty good potion there, because petrification can be very dangerous indeed. Unfortunately, it comes down with a downside. You see, unlike later Final Fantasy adventures, the soft potion cannot be used during combat whatsoever, which basically means if you're fighting an enemy that can petrify you, and that enemy manages to petrify your entire party, there is literally nothing you can do at that point, unless you happen to get incredibly lucky, because once your party is petrified, you lose. Your party is considered, well, dead. Astos wears a disguise and lurks in seclusion. I will take it that Astos is the dark elf that the other elves mentioned. And going up here, there's some more magic stores. There is another black magic store right here. Level 4 magic, eh? Sleep 2, fast. Fast is actually going to be an incredibly useful spell for the party, because fast is essentially haste. Confuse might be good, might not be. And ice 2. I am definitely wanting to, I will definitely want to add ice 2 to my collection as soon as possible. Swords and armor made of silver are very powerful. Yes, indeed. They're even more powerful than iron armor and weapons. Let's see what magic is here. We have pure, which, well, that's actually pretty costly, considering the fact that we can just get pure potions anyway. Fear, which probably terrorizes enemies. Anti-ice, which will probably actually be a bit more effective, and anti-mute, which will be probably useful against enemies that silence our mages, preventing them from invoking their spells. Long ago I wandered to the northwest. I found an ancient castle that was so spooky I left immediately. We're going to want to investigate that at some point. And, well, we can't really get over to that other store there, but we'll have to go this way, because there is actually more to see and do here in Elfland. Our prince was to become the king of Elfland. What happened to the previous king, I wonder? Did Astos deal with him? This is a tomb. This is also a tomb. Here lies Edric, 1837 to 866, or 837 to 866, there is no 18. Rest in peace. I believe these tombs actually have a somewhat morbidly humorous Easter egg there, but I won't mention that. And some more white magic. More level 3. We've got Cure 2 and Harm 2, which will definitely be powerful. Even though Harm 2 does more damage anyway, Harm actually affects a lot of enemies because it's a group attack spell anyway, but Cure 2 is definitely going to be one that Adam will need. Anti-fire and heal. Heal is also going to be something that we will need. And I probably haven't mentioned this yet, but I believe we can only as soon as I bring up, I think we can only have 3 spells of a certain level at any given moment. Just to let you know there. But now it is time to actually go into the castle of Elfheim itself and see what is going on. Let us find this sleeping prince. Astos put the prince to sleep. Please save him. And you probably... yes, you do. You say the exact same thing there. Without warning, Astos attacked our castle. Our prince was laid under a curse and our treasury ransacked. Well, that's not good. Astos probably has quite the arsenal at his disposal now. And seems there are a few elves around the castle, but we don't want to go into that room just yet. We want to have a look around and speak to everyone else beforehand. It is said that there is a witch who has herbs. I believe that her name is Matoya. Yes, indeed, the person in the cave who needs a crystal, who I believe a certain dark elf has that crystal in her possession, so sooner or later we are going to have to confront Astos. The Cave of Dwarf is at the west end of the Aldi Sea, which is the sea to the north of Elfheim. We're going to be sailing to the Dwarf Cave at some point, but not right now. We have plenty to explore here. And you were the person I talked to beforehand. Now, we can walk in here for some reason. Nice little courtyard there. But we actually want to go outside and try and, assuming that I don't end up running into walls and anything, I want to, nope, I thought so. That would bring me to the, that would bring me up there. I want to, head to the, northeastern corner, in the, right-hand corner over here, where that room is, because I assume that that room is going to be very important. And it is important, because this room is, the treasury locked by the, mystic key. Now, just leave and go back into the castle again. Just save me, wandering around. And, there is one last room to be explored here in the castle of Elfheim, and that is the chamber of the prince. For 5 years, the prince has slept under Astos' spell. Only Matoya's herb can wake him. 5 years. It's amazing that he's still alive. Albeit, one would think he's in a coma, but no, he is just sleeping. And I don't think, seems like Astos, doesn't want the, didn't want to destroy the elves quickly. In fact, he wants them to suffer quite slowly. Now, yeah, there are, ooh, wow, we're fighting yet another asp, and definitely not going to be good if he actually poisons us, so we want to deal with him as quickly as possible. There we go. And we only had to use one fire spell there. Get some skill and experience, but now we want to actually sail west through the Aldi Sea to reach the Dwarf Cave and see what's going over there. So I will see you all in a very short moment. Alright, so we're now back on the ship, and we are going to sail west. Over here. Try and use these areas as a landmark, and and we have some new enemies in the form of Odd Eyes. They're going to be fairly formidable, but firsthand, I actually want to deal with the Sahagins as well. Odd Eyes can paralyze, that's not good. At least they, well, at least I was the only one that was paralyzed, but given the fact that I'm the one who wields the power of lightning, that's not in our favor there. And we are still missing there, which is very unfortunate. So we want to actually deal with the Odd Eyes as quickly as possible, because if we don't, then they will paralyze us, and that is never good. Yeah, there are some enemies that can actually paralyze your entire party, including the Odd Eyes, of course, if they manage to paralyze your entire party beforehand. We need to get rid of them as soon as possible, and hopefully Uzziah can actually not take too much damage. Fortunately, the Odd Eyes aren't actually that strong, as you just saw there. And Theo is now no longer paralyzed, so now we can take the fight to the Sahagas. Or Sahagins, sorry, not Sahagas. Almost sounds like Sahara there, but there's no R in Sahagins. But now that we no longer have to worry about being stunned, we can deal with these Sahagins in very short order. And then we can continue making our way to the Dwarf Cave and see the land of the Dwarves. I don't think in Final Fantasy the Dwarves and the Elves have the sort of rivalry that they do in the Lord of the Rings, or in pretty much any other fantasy setting. Then again, given the fact that what's happening in the world right about now, yeah, the rivalry wouldn't really mean much anyway, but it is very important that we actually do visit the Dwarf Cave at some point. I'm going to visit it right now, just to show you all where it is. And Morgil couldn't hurt. More areas that we can't go into, and this right here is a place that we can't sail through. It'd be nice if we could get through that, but we can't. I'm going to head north here to this location here, and we have a new enemy in the form of an ogre. She has a very nasty looking club there, and I would actually consider healing Uzziah there, since he's not doing pretty well, although he's doing better. But yeah, that was 64 damage, and that ogre did not flinch in the slightest. We are definitely going to have to deal with them in short order. And even Theo was going to have some trouble dealing with him. Because ogres have pretty tough skin there, but we've got a considerable amount of gold, and where is this dwarf cave? Somewhere around here. And some more great wool, so I'll just be a moment, and hopefully we can get back to going to the dwarf cave. Okay, that definitely took a considerably quite a bit longer than I thought it would, and need Adam to provide us with some healing there. I know I've used up quite a considerable amount of his charges there, and actually wonder if we were actually heading in the right direction, because it is considerably easy to get lost, and going to flee from these enemies, just to no harm in running away. That was a close call indeed. So, just bear with me a little bit longer, and hopefully I shall find where exactly the Cave of the Dwarves might be. One moment. And thanks for being patient with me, adventurers. Seems like I finally found where the dwarf cave is, thanks to the trusty map provided by Mike's RPG Center. So let us venture inside, to the realm of the dwarves. Dwarves can see in the dark, that's because they have infravision. But I also believe that elves possess infravision as well. Hooray! Well, you seem very in high spirits there. Did you meet Smith? A blacksmith? That's a fairly original name there for a blacksmith. With the crystal, even the blind can see. Astos stole it from Matoya. We already surmised as much. And there are more dwarves down here in the depths. The bracelets can protect you like armor. Very useful for the mages, who cannot wear armor. That sound? Nerik is digging a canal. There is supposed to be the sound of digging, but we can't hear it here. I'm looking for the floater. I'll bet with it I can float anything. That floater sounds very important. And you say the same thing. So there are chambers that we can enter, and most of the dwarves are singing hooray, because they seem like a very happy group of dwarves. And I believe you are the blacksmith named Smith. For light warriors, I will make a truly legendary sword. However, my supply of adamant is exhausted. It's supposed to be adamantium. And that is just an unusable sample there. Yeah, those swords are just replicas. Not true weapons of war. The earth is rotting slowly from the west. Well, that is not a good sign. But there's another dwarf mentioning Nerik, who we are going to have a visit within, well, just a few short moments. Down over here, which is quite a considerable way down from the entrance. A rock blocks construction of my canal. Oh, yeah, canal. If only I had TNT. We're going to have to find that TNT at some point, and this way is blocked off. We can't go that way, but we can go into this fairly sizable chamber over here, if only we happen to have the Mr. Key on hand. So I'm taking it as read as that's the dwarves' treasure hold. I wonder if we'll find mithril armor. I highly doubt it, but it doesn't hurt to hope. And I believe we've pretty much explored everywhere there is to down here in the depths of the dwarf cave. So yeah, there is definitely a lot to see and explore here in the world of Final Fantasy. And I believe with the dwarf cave behind us for the time being, I shall leave you all here for now, and when we return, adventurers, we shall head back to Elfheim and actually explore the spooky northwestern castle that was mentioned some time ago. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.